Welcome to Soccer's Morning Show. Sorry about 9:06. I was pouring my caffeine. And so it is here, and so is Jarrett, and so are you guys. And thanks for coming on for another round of Soccer's Morning Show, Soccer Down Here. And thanks for those of you watching on Twitch, and thanks to those of you who will be listening later as this is rolled over into podcast form over on the network. So it was another average day. Nothing happened, nothing going on. Daniel Gazdag is now officially a designated player for the Philadelphia Union, and folks are chasing after more transactions and things like that. Aaron Long, once again, is now officially official with LAFC. Austin has signed a Finnish international, and I'm surprised I got through the show that much with a straight face. So that's your morning kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee. KickoffCoffeeCO.com.
You dying there?
No, just I gave myself a bit of a laugh because obviously none of these things are the lead story at all. But getting through the opening kickoff in about a minute and a half is probably the best way to go about things. And KickoffCoffeeCO.com, there's your QR code for those of you watching on Twitch. And Kickoff Coffee CO on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off. They, in turn, take 10% and reinvest it into the youth game. Our friends at KickoffCoffeeCO.com. Okay. So yesterday, after the show goes off the air, I mean, we had all of the Atlanta United stuff, and now there's a kit leak and things like that. But all hell broke loose in national team circles. And literally it came down to, it was Bobby Heenan asking who the third man was. And you see Hogan come down the aisle and you're wondering, okay, so, and then Heenan with the reveal, whose team is he on, which a lot of folks miss before Hogan turns heel. And so we found out.
Yeah, Heenan, okay, low key, let's take this apart. Heenan really screws up that entire thing by talking just too much.
Mm-hmm. Well,
when you watch it back, you're like, man, just shut up. You're trying too hard to build the suspense instead of just saying, oh my God, it's Hogan. Instead of doing that, you kind of, when you watch it back, you're like, man, a wiser person other than 6-year-old me might have figured it out.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Anyway.
Yes. So we found out that the phone call was coming from inside the house, using the Jeff Carlisle, Kyle Bonagura version of what happened. Danielle Reyna says she told U.S. Soccer Sporting Director Ernie Stewart about Greg Berhalter's past domestic violence incident because she was frustrated by comments about her son after the team's elimination from the 2022 World Cup.
Because this is a healthy way to discuss things.
Yes. Yeah, I'm, and we'll get into the full statements and things like that, and as we go, because like I said, we got space, and that's why we like to spend as much time as we do on these topics because we can share the space to do it. It deserves this deep of a dive, and you have to understand all of the different elements that are attached to it and get the full picture here. But your headline was that Danielle Reyna was the one, and the information shared after the comments Berhalter made at the Howe Institute, the Society Summit on Moral Leadership in New York, where Berhalter says that a player, not naming said player, but a player, was nearly sent home from the World Cup for not meeting expectations on and off the field. Everybody could put one and one together, come up with two, and think that it was Gio Reyna, and Gio confirmed it on Instagram the next day. Danielle Reyna's statement, quote, "I thought it was especially unfair that Gio, who had apologized for acting immaturely about his playing time, was still being dragged through the mud when Greg had asked for and received forgiveness for doing something so much worse at the same age," end quote. Claudio Reyna also sent multiple messages to Brian McBride and Ernie Stewart during the World Cup, in which he said he shared his frustration about Gio's World Cup experience. multiple sources tell ESPN that he threatened to share allegations about Berhalter's past, but Reyna has denied those allegations. Quote, while in Qatar, shared my frustrations about my son's World Cup experience with a number of close friends, Ernie and Brian McBride among them. However, at no time did I ever threaten anyone, nor would I ever do so, end quote, in his statement. Messages from Claudio began after his son Gio Reyna was informed he'd have a limited role in the tournament. Tuesday, Berhalter's contract expired December 31st. He revealed details of the incident in a lengthy statement on a Twitter account that is his, rarely used. And he goes into detail about the incident when he was a freshman in college. And Daniel Reyna, in response to Berhalter's characterization of the event, once again, this is Jeff Carlisle, Kyle Bonagura. So the characterizations of the events, without going into detail, the statements from yesterday significantly minimize the abuse on the night in question. Rosalind Berhalter was my roommate, teammate, and best friend, and I supported her through the trauma that followed. It took a long time for me to forgive and accept Greg afterward, but I worked hard to give him grace and ultimately made both of them and their kids a huge part of my family's life. I would have wanted and expected him to give the same grace to Gio. This is why the current situation is so very hurtful and hard, end quote. So let's stop right there. That we'll stop right there for the moment. So, Jarrett, we have what Daniel Reyna has put out publicly, and I'm going to phrase it this way. This was not Daniel Reyna's to tell. You're violating a confidence of someone who you admit in your own paragraphs. And I think it's safe to say that this is probably more tense accurate than the statement yesterday. Rosalind Berhalter was my roommate, teammate, and best friend, and I supported her through the trauma that followed. I think that that's probably more accurate now in a past tense. That sentence is probably more accurate than anything. I don't think that this was Rosalind Berhalter's. I don't think that this was Daniel Reyna's to tell. This was not. And Daniel Reyna violated a confidence in expressing displeasure over her son. So there you go. That's to this particular point. That's my underlying thing here.
Yeah, it's one piece of this giant pie of just chaos. Mm-hmm. That I don't think it was either. I think it very much that's not yours to tell. And the argument of, well, I told Ernie that in confidence. I didn't want it to come out. Well, when you have decided to make this a tit for tat, and there's potential for loose lips, mm-hmm. things like that are going to happen. They do. Mm-hmm. First of all, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. When Greg gave his when Greg gave his little speech thing, the symposium, which was incorrectly leaked. If I'm not mistaken, did he name Gio in the symposium speech?
No, he did not. He mentioned a player. But we could all sit here and go, okay, 1 + 1 = 2.
Yes. But he did not name Gio.
No, he did not.
He didn't get up there and say, hey, I got this kid named Gio Reyna who was being an asshat. That's not what happened. Mm-mm. So, a lot of my frustration that stems from it's he didn't name Gio in the speech. It just I would be embarrassed if I would be embarrassed if I were Gio to have parents acting like this.
Yeah.
Because you already had the stuff going on over there with Winalda and with Claudio Reyna mouthing off. On top of that, then you get his mother getting involved. It's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, legitimately, like, that's my takeaway from it is, like, it's embarrassing. And if my parents ever did this, like, as a professional athlete, even a little league athlete, if my parents ever did something like this, I'd have crawled under a rock in embarrassment for what had happened.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely insane that this is what happened.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with you in the sense that, and I've seen a number of people say it's not an original thought. It's not her trauma to share.
Mm-hmm.
This does feature one of my favorite things where someone allegedly attempts blackmail and the person who might be the victim of that goes, yeah, I'll just tell you what happened. And blackmail didn't really matter. I'll tell you what went down. Also, low key, Daniela Reyna also opens up another potential can of worms by, in her apology, or not really an apology, in her statement, accusing Greg Berhalter of downplaying the events. That's a whole nother can of worms. Mm-hmm. It's saying that, that Greg, downplayed and didn't give the full story on the events that happened the night when he was 18 with his then girlfriend, now wife. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, and I've seen a lot of people joke about it, and I get it. Like, the joke that, oh, well, America's a soccer nation now. It's some grim stuff, though, and it shouldn't be like that. Yeah. It's, and here's the thing, man. I'm looking through the Twitch pitch. Yeah, Topka, I don't really care about the soccer right now, man. I get what you mean. I don't really care about the soccer. I care about the fact that the Federation looks like a clown shoe right now.
Yeah.
The fact that you have a coach who was, look, we went over this yesterday. Greg being put in place in a really crappy way that opened the door for nepotism complaints. Absolutely a thing that happened. Absolutely a thing that should not have happened, but it did, and it's really damn annoying. And it put him in a really, really bad spot where he was going to have to be damn near flawless because of the appearance of nepotism involved there. But now you've got, like, a former captain of the national team getting into it with him and was already getting mad like somebody's dad at a damn Little League game because the coach didn't pitch him 3 innings. Yeah. He got to bat him third. That's the best hitter on the team right there. You got to pitch. I've been working on him with a curveball. You know who else is really pissed off about this, by the way, is Borussia Dortmund, because Gio Reyna's value is going to crater after this. Find me a place that's going to want to deal with him, knowing, oh man, if we don't if we do anything that might be this, perceived as a slight, are we going to have his dad and his mom up here yelling about stuff? Yeah. Is Austin going to actually pull the trigger here and get rid of Claudio Reyna? Because I don't know how he can work in U.S. soccer right now. Yeah. I don't know how he can work in MLS. I don't give a damn what his name is. I don't give a damn that it's Claudio Reyna. It could be Jesus Christ Reyna for all I care. You're pulling something like this and undermining the team in the World Cup, and then after the fact, getting a tit for tat with somebody who you're in his damn wedding. Yeah, I can't have someone like that working for my organization. That is a hell of a lot of chaos to be going through at any given moment. Mm-hmm. It's an embarrassment for everyone involved. Look, Greg Berhalter, I don't think he should come back. Not because Tofko, you and I can chat about this later for sure. Hit me up, absolutely. I'm open to it. I thought the play was fine. I just don't like coaches I don't like second cycle. I'm one of those people. But like the fact, Greg did enough. It wasn't perfect. He did enough. He also took scalps off Mexico and took a couple trophies from them, stuck some thorns in their paws. That was great. Got you out of the group stage, which should be the bare minimum. But now, like, the whole damn federation looks like an embarrassment. There's more investigations going on. There's going to be vendettas left and right. It's not just Claudio Reyna and his wife, though. I'm sure, like, if this came out, if they said it in confidence and it came out, then someone in U.S. soccer has a beef with them as well. So this is multi-layered bullshit all the way around. Everybody's acting like middle schoolers. Grow the hell up and act like an adult. You want the federation and the game to move forward in this country? Then grow the hell up and act like it.
Daniel Reyna's statement continued. At the time I called Ernie, many people were trashing Gio on social media due to Greg's comments. I didn't know when or if this would stop. I just wanted Ernie to help make sure that there would be no further unwarranted attacks on my son. I thought our conversation would remain in confidence, and it didn't occur to me at the time that anything I said could lead to an investigation. I'm not criticizing Ernie here.
Anything you say can and will be out. This is 2022. Grow the hell up. This isn't the early 90s. We're not at the shopping mall. Obviously, people have opinions on all of this. Obviously, U.S. soccer is a boiling pot going over right now, and the Lobsters are attempting to jump out of said pot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Damn, man. Like, I didn't know it would get out. If you're going to say something, assume that it will get out.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. Just because
that's the world we live in. Is it fair? Is it right? That's debatable. But assume that it might get out.
Mm-hmm. Just because you say something and you say it's in confidence doesn't mean it's going to remain that way.
I am more than anything, I'm really pissed off and embarrassed about, just the way that U.S. soccer, like how this is going for U.S. soccer. Like it's chaos and it's dumb and it's petty. And every time in the past when we make fun of another federation, this is the kind of stuff where we're like, that federation's a mess. Well, congratulations. You're the mess now, U.S. soccer. Mm-hmm. Like that's where you're at. You're the mess now because you have people all over the place, apparently, not just Claudio Reyna, not just his family, not just Berhalter, not just Ernie Stewart, not Cindy Parlow-Cone. It appears to be all over. The call isn't coming from inside the house. The call is coming from every landline tied to the damn house because you got multiple people putting stuff out there from multiple angles, more investigations coming. Congratulations. You should be leading up to the damn World Cup in your country in a joint bid where you get to show off your new stadiums and the growth of MLS and the growth of soccer in America. Instead, you're dealing with a situation now where your federation looks like a bunch of middle schoolers at the mall doing a gossip session. Now, grow the hell up and fix your stuff. And a lot of that, you know what, Cindy Parlow-Cone, a lot of that's going to fall on you as well. You're going to have to do the job. Is it hard? Yeah. Is it ugly? Yeah. You going to lose some friends? Probably. You got to do the job, though.
Mm-hmm. Danielle says, I very much commend the recent efforts by U.S. Soccer to address abuse of women players, and I understand now he had an obligation to investigate what I shared. But I want to be very clear. I did not ask for Greg to be fired. I did not make any threats, and I don't know anything about any blackmail attempts, nor have I ever had any discussions about anyone on Greg's staff. I don't know any of the other coaches. I did not communicate with anyone in U.S. Soccer about this matter before December 11. No one else in my family has made any statements to U.S. Soccer regarding Greg's past at all. I'm sorry that this information became public. I regret the role. I regret I played a role in something that could reopen wounds from the past.
No, you're not. This is the same thing that we have the conversation with children all the time. You're not sorry you did something. You're sorry you got caught or that it boiled over and became a problem.
Gio Reyna.
You turned it into a tit for tat.
Yeah.
Because you got mad because Greg Berhalter did a story about, told a little story about your son to a symposium when he's talking about leadership. Sure, Greg, and this is the same, but we said that, and Nick got on here and said the same damn thing about Greg, to be honest, of, hey, don't say it out loud because it's 2022 and nothing, and stuff just gets out in the open. Mm-hmm. Nothing stays secret. Okay, then you got to hold her to the same accountability if we're going to do that.
Yeah. Gio came out with a statement. Gio's father, Claudio, came out with a statement. Gio has yet to come out with anything public, nor should he.
Dude, I'm assuming Gio didn't have anything to do with this, and I feel bad for the kid because he is getting wrapped up into this damn circus. I'm operating under the assumption he didn't play a role in this. He didn't know what was going on. The kid's trying to live his dream. Kid got a little sideways, with his attitude, which whatever. He's a kid.
And your parents are fighting your battles for you.
Yeah, it's just. I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Because he's getting wrapped up in something that it sounds like was handled internally by the team. Like the players handled it based on Greg's anecdote that was then leaked. it sounds like it was handled by the team and everything went well and everything went better. It was an opportunity for growth. That's awesome that happened. But now it's just like he's not able. He's going to be tied to this for a long time.
Absolutely.
If I were another team, yeah, I'd be nervous about bringing him in. Am I going to have to deal with his parents?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, to a couple points from the. I know I'm trying to catch up on the Twitch pitch and
go for it.
Trying to cool off a bit. Junios mentioned we've been a mess for a while. Yeah, absolutely. This is it's come to a head. And honestly, I didn't think we're cutting into a wound now where I didn't realize the gangrene went that far down the leg.
Yeah.
Sam, yeah, that might be the biggest Karen soccer moment of all time, especially on this kind of stage. Yeah, it's going to fall. Yeah, I mean, Ricky, that's my thing. It's like, especially assuming Gio didn't have like any dog in this fight, that his parents just went off and did this, assuming that's what happened, like, it's going to, yeah, I mean,
it's going to stick with
it's going to stick with him, and it's going to stick with his reputation because of his parents just getting in completely out of pocket for no damn reason.
Yep.
So, I mean,
yeah. So Gio was also asked, Claudio was also asked to have a statement. So here's the copy of the statement issued to The Athletic. I support my wife, Danielle, in her statement. I, too, was upset by Greg's comments about Gio after the U.S. was out of the World Cup. I also appealed to Ernie Stewart on December 11, asking him to prevent any additional comments. While in Qatar, I shared my frustrations about my son's World Cup experience with a number of close friends, Ernie and Brian McBride among them. However, at no time did I ever threaten anyone, nor would I ever do so. Your background. Berhalter and Claudio Reyna played soccer together growing up in New Jersey. Claudio's father, Miguel, coached their club team. The two played high school soccer together at St. Benedict's in Newark, New Jersey. Also played together on the 2002 World Cup squad. According to a website owned by the U.S. National Soccer Team Players Association, the U.S. Men's Soccer Players Union, Reyna served as the best man to Berhalter's wedding. In a statement issued on Tuesday, U.S. Soccer learned of the incident involving Berhalter on December 11, immediately hired Alston and Bird LLP to conduct an independent investigation into the matter. The investigation remains ongoing. We found out about that in the press conference involving U.S. Soccer late yesterday afternoon. Statement said that during the course of the investigation, U.S. Soccer has, quote, learned about potential inappropriate behavior towards multiple members of our staff by individuals outside of our organization. We take such behavior seriously and expanded our investigation to include those allegations. Once again, remember, Berhalter's contract expired December 31st, and I think that we're pretty much in unison here in the idea that we're not two-cycle guys, and that should be a part of this discussion. Obviously, that you're looking at everything right now. We'll get into the press conference with JT Batson, Cindy Parlow-Cohen. The quick JT Batson really was the one individual who had the quotes to reference from the press conference yesterday. U.S. Soccer announced Anthony Hudson will lead the U.S. men's national team for a pair of friendlies later this month. And so that's where you are here. Burned, quote, I don't know of any blackmail situation, but I just told Greg's direct boss about a past domestic violence situation, which obviously wasn't hers to share. Correct. David, hinders U.S. Soccer for looking for the next manager. Gio has no leash going forward. And to a point.
Which sucks for Gio, by the way, because by all accounts, it sounds like Gio did kid things. He got upset because his role was going to be reduced. Of course, no one wants their role to be reduced at the World Cup. Mm-hmm. No one wants that. Everyone wants to get a chance to play 90 minutes 3 times in the group stage and then play in the knockout rounds. Of course, everybody wants that, but we don't all get that, unfortunately. And he got frustrated by it, and he was a kid about it because ultimately he's still a teenager. Yeah. They got in his ear about it. They got him to straighten up. It seems like everything was fine. Like all the on the field stuff seems like it was fine. Mm-hmm. And it sucks for him that this just won't go away, and he's getting, he's going to keep getting leashed to this anchor that is going to be sinking. Well, they just put another collar on him about it, and it's just a mess. Yeah, and to y'all's points, yeah, I'm very much in the camp like if I had a say in it, if I'm Austin, Claudio's going. Yeah. I can't have him.
No,
I can't have him after this. This is not okay.
No, you can't do it. There's too much of a cloud there. There's too many other things that are sitting there that are a part of this, discussion. And so the statements from the very quick statement out there from Claudio Reyna, the in-depth statement from Danielle Reyna. Then you had the conversation yesterday. Ernie Stewart said he was pleased with the USMNT's performance at the 22 World Cup. As of now and until the independent investigation is complete, Greg Berhalter remains in contention, obviously, to continue as the coach for the USMNT. And it's, it is not the firestorm that you're looking for. You're really not. And there were questions yesterday that were asked in the conference call, in the Zoom opportunity with JT Batson, Ernie Stewart, Cindy Parlow-Cone, and they're questions really that you can't answer for a bunch of different reasons. You can't sit there and say, okay, well, what about this situation? You can't answer a lot of those things because you're still monitoring a situation in an independent investigation. You can't sit there and say, well, yeah, we're gonna knock this out. And until and according to questions yesterday, they don't have all the facts. Team at Alston Bird have been given full autonomy. And the question was asked of Parlow-Cone, Batson, Stewart, and Neil Buthe if they were among the multiple members receiving inappropriate behavior from Danielle Reyna. And so it was reported they don't have all the facts yet. So Secretary General J.T. Batson clarified that Berhalter domestic abuse allegations being investigated, as is the inappropriate communication. And so there's a lot of stuff here that is still in play, and it is all profoundly disappointing when it comes to where things are. Yeah, if you want to, you're asking folks, okay, J.T. Batson, if you're comfortable with Greg Berhalter continuing, quote, I don't feel comfortable answering that question given all the details with regard to the investigation underway. And you're going to get that going forward. You're going to get that. You're going to get all of this. You're going to get the most nebulous answers going forward. And you're not going to get any kind of volunteering until Alston and Bird have completed their investigation. This whole thing was profoundly disappointing across a lot of different strata. But when you find out that it is, in fact, Danielle and Claudio Reyna that were the two, where you sit there and it's like, I didn't mean to get anybody in trouble. But to your point, Jarrett, you're not mad that you did it. You're mad you got caught. And that's what this
You're mad. You're mad that it blew up.
Mm-hmm.
You're not mad about the entire thing happening. You're mad this whole thing blew up in your face. Mm-hmm. And now you have a controversy that is hindering your entire family and, most importantly, your child. Mm-hmm. Like, no one really knows what his career is going to be like going forward now.
Yes.
But you've hindered that. That's your doing.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, you're mad that it blew up.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know. I realize that we talked about yesterday, if you're not deep into the weeds of the U.S. soccer Twitter, stay out. It gets really ugly. It gets really personal really fast. It gets really unnecessarily personal really quickly. It gets really uncomfortable, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
But that being said, I know people have wanted Greg out from day one, and I think I hope we were closing in on it anyway, just because I'm a one cycle person.
Yeah.
I hoped that it would mean that he was going to be done after this cycle. Don't know if that's going to be the case. Don't know if that would have been the case. But in an attempt to get out something they perceived as a pest, they have in turn decided to burn down the whole damn house.
Yeah.
That is where we are at. The cat's in the house, and you don't want the cat in the house. You don't solve this problem by burning down the entire house, which is what U.S. soccer appears to be actively attempting to do.
Yeah.
But their head stays firmly lodged in their ass across the board, and it is absolutely amazing that this is the situation we were in. Never let anyone tell you that the people in charge are mature and brilliant all the time. Because the people who are in charge of groups, in charge of you, the people making tons of money, oftentimes are going to be as big idiots as anyone else. They just happen to have a bigger gun.
Yeah. Michael Valverde's in this morning. Sad situation, shares your frustration, Jared. Seems it's time to clean house and get out of the high school clique that apparently runs U.S. soccer. That's a universal thing, though.
Oh, David, it'll never be quiet. We're not that lucky.
Yeah. No.
Off season will never be quiet enough for us. That's fine. I mean, off season should be fun. I shouldn't have to deal with shouldn't be having to deal with the concept of Claudio Reyna and his family deciding to do all this stuff. It's very annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it feels like U.S. soccer is going to be in a situation where they're attempting to burn down the house. I'm not going to sit here and even pretend to say I know what's going on with players and their opinions on Greg Berhalter, whether or not they want him back. Who the hell knows? I haven't asked players. If y'all have, good on you. I don't know. I don't know how they would feel about having Greg back. I think Greg grew as a manager because he realized he couldn't run the national team like he had been running like he had run his clubs, and it's an important lesson to learn. I think that's kind of what he was. That's what he was learning in the process. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how the players would have felt about him coming back or not. I'm just so tired of this crap. We don't know right now, and. Yeah, I'm assuming. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Just a blanket assumption that the goal here will be achieved. Greg won't come back. I don't know if Greg would have come back anyway, but I'm assuming the goal here will be achieved. That ultimately, Greg won't come back. So, I guess kudos. You kind of got the job done you wanted to get done. If that's the case. But, you've won, but at what cost? Let's bring the meme back full circle. You've won, but at what cost?
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah, you got what you wished for. You kind of went around the bend to get it done. But that's where this is. And
talk unless you got something, and I may have missed something, and if so, shoot, let me know. I haven't seen. I mean, I can't pretend to know what the players are saying or thinking about whether or not they like Greg or not. I have no idea, man. I would hope that because if you're right, if they are just smiling and nodding and they're not fans and they're doing the job, then great. I'm actually very happy to hear that because it means they would be doing the job put in front of them. And being professionals. That's all I ever really ask, to be honest. Is just be professionals. So hopefully that is the case. For any of them that do like him, great. Don't know how long he's going to last now after all of this crap. Honestly, and you know what? Even if I were Greg, I'm not sure I'd want the job right now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who, and someone else mentioned this earlier, I'm not sure who would want the job right now. Because what if you do something that slides? People going to be digging up blackmail on YouTube? Granted, it's going to be a different kind of animal for blackmail, where, it might be a thing where you bring in someone from the outside who we don't have blackmail on him. Maybe that's for the best.
Yeah.
Maybe next time that's just for the best.
And folks sit there and go, well, why did you hire this individual? Well, it's because
we couldn't hire anyone else because y'all decided that everyone else sucked. You know what? You want to have some real fun with it? I'm fine burning down U.S. national team Twitter. Let's bring in Frank DeBoer. Let's just see what the hell happens. Yeah, Coco, I don't know. At some point, Austin, I think Austin has to fire Claudio Reyna. I think they have to after this.
But, let's even take that back another step. Who's the owner of Austin FC?
I believe that's an Anthony Precourt.
Where was Austin FC as a franchise before they were in Austin, owned by Anthony Precourt?
I believe they were in Columbus, Ohio.
Who was one of the previous coaches of Columbus Crew when they were in Columbus, owned by Anthony Precourt?
I believe that was a Mr. 3G, Greg Berhalter.
Right.
Who, by the way, was like apparently got on really well with if you ever watched the way like managers interact after games, there's two managers that stick out to mind when Tata Martino was here, that after matches, he walked over and looked like he genuinely enjoyed talking to them and then playing a match against them. And that was Patrick Vieira and Greg Berhalter. Both of those times, I have this image in my head still of him talking to them after the match and him going up to Greg and being very animated in a very friendly way, like, man, that was fun. We should do this again. Said the same thing with Vieira. But yeah, Greg Berhalter was one of those guys he spoke very highly of as a manager. Greg Berhalter was a manager of Columbus, who Anthony Precourt owned before taking over Austin, because that was another, chaotic situation.
Mm-hmm. And Claudio Reyna is currently on the staff in Austin. So all of that
thing.
Yeah, the seven circles continue to work themselves around each other. And Coco, that's the thing. When you're wondering about Claudio's future, he can't continue.
What is his role? Is he technical director? Or?
Let me check. I want to get it right.
Because I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's technical director, but I'm not 100% sure.
Sporting director.
Sporting director, I'm sorry. So he's sporting director at Austin.
Yeah.
I don't know how he keeps that job after this.
Yeah. Yeah. So Claudio was active in Austin FC 2 days ago when they added the staff for Austin FC 2 as they were getting ready for MLS Next Pro. So, he was active in the quote machine 2 days ago as Austin FC continues to expand. So, sporting director at Austin FC, Claudio Reyna, and all of the spiraling tentacles that are attached to that. And I mean, all of you guys are talking about irony and the circle of life. And, I mean, when Tony Miola, Soccer for Good OG, I imagine she was listening on the satellite radio version of Soccer Channel. And when Tony Miola is blasting the Soccer Federation, she goes, even Miolo's blasting the Fed. It's bad. And it is across the board. And so you guys were talking about irony. If 3GB doesn't get renewed, Reyna getting canned in Austin would be ironic. Coco says real irony would be firing Claudio and bringing in 3GB. So, I don't think he would be. I don't know if he would be a sporting director. I would assume, and I don't know. I would assume Greg would go manage somewhere else. Maybe he steps away from the game for a while after all this. I think that's what happens more than anything. I think that with all of this madness that is going on, and I say going on because Alston and Bird are still investigating, and we don't know what else they're going to find and who else may or may not have been talked about, or put under the microscope and or the magnifying glass when it comes to discussions for the national team. Alston and Bird are going to take their time, and that's the other thing that the U.S. Soccer Federation said yesterday. They're not going to say anything about a player. They're not going to say anything because they were talking. There were questions yesterday in the opportunity about Gio Reyna's future with the U.S. men's national team. That it isn't necessarily germane to the conversation. That is a coach.
The Germans ain't got nothing to do with it.
Exactly, they don't. And so Gio Reyna's ability on the pitch has nothing to do with an Alston and Bird investigation. That is a coaching decision as to whether or not you feel that Gio Reyna would benefit the squad.
Sorry, Jason.
In 2026.
Nike's shoe rep would be amazing.
True.
Give him a job at Nike, please.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and Coco, I mean, to your question, is he going to get blackballed from the men's national team?
If his parents did this, independent of him, I sincerely hope he doesn't. I sincerely hope he does not get blackballed. I think that would absolutely suck, because if his parents just decided to go completely out of pocket on this and like all of this happens without him,
they go helicopter parent and do this on a global scale,
then I sincerely hope that they're able to discuss this within the federation, and he's able to separate himself from it and continue to grow as a player, because I think he had showed something to you as a player, during the World Cup, by growing.
Yes.
And pouting and then getting over it and it being able to contribute enough to get on the field against the Dutch in the knockout game. So I don't want him to, I don't want him to be blacklisted out of the national team.
But there is a transitive property attached.
There is,
good or bad, there's a transitive property that's attached here.
So there is, if he reached out and like, hey, mom, dad, make something happen here.
Yeah.
Then that's a different conversation. But I'm assuming he didn't have anything to do with this one, and that sucks. But that sucks, like that it is happening to him.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be.
No.
Like.
No, your parents allegedly, did this because they were mad. You, as a player, meaning Gio, were involved in a situation. You apparently have learned from the situation. You've grown from this by listening to your teammates, listening to coaches, listening to those around you in an athletic sense. And you hope that Gio Reyna continues to grow from this. And your parents were the ones who decided to share information that wasn't theirs, not there, and violating a confidence of a friend who definitely was your friend. And I think that Danielle Reyna, whether she knew it or not, in her statement, she phrased it probably more accurately now than she did when she was writing the thing. Someone who was your friend. Because I don't see how this friendship could continue under any auspice or circumstance. And you're in this situation now where, and Coco's right, in all overreaching parents in youth sports, the kid suffers the most. There you go. And Coco, basically it goes back to, Danielle Reyna knew exactly what she was doing. Don't insult people's intelligence by saying you meant no harm. As Jarrett said, Coco, you're mad you got caught. You're not. I don't think you're mad about what you did. You're mad about getting caught, or you're apologizing because you got caught. You're not apologizing for what you did. So that's, you're mad this went public and you got busted. And so now you're having to resurrect and try to recapture whatever it was you were trying to sit there. And it's like, no, I didn't mean anything. Well, too late. Everything's out of the barn at this point. So that's where we are with all of this. And I mean, you've got the men's national team that is affected. You have Borussia Dortmund who's affected. Burns said he was looking at kicker this morning, and nothing has been said so far. You have the transfer value of your son, which has been affected. So his brand and his economy has been affected by it. Austin FC has been affected by this, whether they choose to recognize it now or not. So literally you have Major League Soccer affected. You've got the national team affected. You have the Bundesliga affected. You have the economy of a player who's been affected. This is ridiculous. It is all over the place. You have so many different things that have been impacted by these statements, by both Danielle and by Claudio in what he said in from behind. It is just unfathomable. Yeah, and Coco's right. Yeah, Gio's worth pennies. Don't think his club isn't pissed either.
Oh, yeah, Dortmund's got to be irate about this. I think Byrne talked about it yesterday. Like, and Burns mentioned this before, and for those of you that don't know, and I believe Coco is a Dortmund fan as well, which is That's a life, man. That is a life post like 2013. You made a decision, my man. God bless you. It's a club that has a lot of young wunderkind kind of players, and they're looking to sell them down the road. Might not be able to sell Mr. Reyna for as much money as you intended to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. So you got all of that stuff that has been impacted. Yeah, and
maybe Al Nasser will bite you. Hey. Al Nasser's linked to everybody and their mother, so
yes,
why not?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, you got all of that too. So that's where we are. Nothing like spending your entire hour, Jarrett, this morning going over a crisis management class that involves the men's national team.
Well, if they'd get their head out of their ass, we wouldn't have to do this. If they wouldn't act like middle schoolers, we wouldn't have to do this.
Yes, but yes, exposing middle schoolers for being middle schoolers, that's kind of what we do here sometimes.
David, I can't even like I said, U.S. national team Twitter is a really weird place. I don't even give those people the time of day most of the time because it is a level of toxicity that is genuinely bothersome. Like you're talking about people who can find a way to twist the universe and justify pretty much anything they feel like they need to justify.
Yeah.
U.S. national team Twitter is something else, and if they don't like somebody like Greg, then you could do pretty much anything as Claudio's done. You could have done worse, and because they did it to Greg, they would consider it excusable.
Yeah.
There is no point in debating them on it. There's no point in getting into anybody with it because it's pretty reprehensible in a lot of ways. And I don't advise messing with U.S. national team Twitter. If you want to do the Twitter thing during the games, by all means, go for it. But overall, you got people who could have done a lot worse to Greg, but because it's Greg, they would consider it justified.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a hell of a way to live your life.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between not liking somebody because they're a manager and deciding that you're going to put deciding that you're good with, with pretty much anything being done to them, because they managed your national team and they weren't the one you wanted. It's a hell of a decision to make.
Yeah. So we'll be back at it with you tomorrow. Our friends from Beyond Goals are set to rejoin us at 9:30. So you get to drift in and out if you so choose tomorrow, sir.
Yeah, that'll probably be the plan.
Okay, so we will see you again tomorrow. Thanks for helping us sort through all of the madness that is U.S.
Yeah. Do it again.
yeah, let's do it again. Exactly. We'll do it.
Right.
We'll do it tomorrow. Be good. Jarrett Smith, everybody. Knicks. Yes, it put Jamie Vardy's troubles to shame. And Sam, it might have been just as effective, though, if you ask CR37 how that went on Piers Morgan, where he's like, oh, yeah, no, money's no issue. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, money's no issue for me. And so then you're going to go play in South Africa with Al Nasser. True, David, it is easy to identify the folks to mute, but for us, traditionally, I'm keeping an eye on everything just so I can gauge all of the viewpoints and things like that. So my Twitter at OSG Nelson is wide open, and so I'm keeping an eye on everything and everybody and feverishly writing down. Now here's my notes yesterday. Yeah, this was kind of where things started. So this is where I was looking for things and looking for folks to go. So I had a full page of places to go when it came to these articles and things like that. So that's where we are this morning involving U.S. men's national team. We've got a lot of news to get through, and we've got other things to talk about on the World Game. We got matches from yesterday to talk about. We got the Premier League. Anything else on your mind? And once again, thanks Twitch Pitch for all that you guys do on a daily basis for letting us know what's on your mind as we continue. Yeah, I think they do, Emilio. I think they do. As a part of the right now, as a part of the growth of the men's national team, yes. But I mean, in the end, talent will win out. If there are those that are more talented, and I'll put that in quotation marks, those that are more involved or more in line with what whomever the coach is and what he wants to do, then it will, then it'll sit there and sort itself out. But I think that right now, when he is healthy, Gio is one of the players that you need. And Turner, honestly, what did the Reynas have to gain from this? Now, any coach will be worried that they'll drop dirt on him if they make. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely they will. And that's once again, it goes to the point that I think it was Coco that made, is that it's the kid that is impacted the most when you have parents who sit there and do these kinds of things. I know that we have our own experiences with parents who are the helicopter parents in whatever aspect of sporting life we've seen. This is the most extreme example I think that we will ever see when it comes to that kind of interaction. And so, yeah, I mean, right now, I don't know if Gio, sadly, will be selected because of the baggage that's attached. And this is, and like I said, and this is, I think that this is a near time frame issue. And I'm sure that over time it may, sort itself out. But, right now for this camp that, morning, Sean, for this camp that Anthony Hudson will be in charge of with these two friendlies in January, I don't see Gio Reyna within 50 miles of it. I really don't. Just because of all of the investigations and all of the other things that are associated with it right now. So it's going to be, this will be something to monitor going forward, is Gio Reyna within the orbit of the men's national team and where it all falls into place. So we'll see. We'll see what it's looking like when it comes to Gio Reyna and the Alston and Bird LLP investigation, what the men's national team and U.S. Soccer Federation have to say about it. The questions yesterday at the Federation Zoom call about whether or not certain players would be, Nick, it's supposed to be a very heavy youth camp, under 20s. And so I think it'll give us something to take our minds off of everything going on with the senior players at present. But yeah, anything and everything that's attached to Greg Berhalter or Gio Reyna, you're going to let the investigation fall. And, I'm sure that a lot of folks were not pleased with the sound bites that they were getting yesterday from JT Batson, Ernie Stewart, Cindy Parlow-Cohn. But, they're not going to give you anything because a current investigation is still ongoing. They're not going to venture too far outside of the lanes of traffic and sit there and say, well, yeah, this. No, they're not going to do that until Alston and Bird are finished. And we don't have a timetable on that. And so think about any and all parties that are associated with this investigation. Any question that's asked involving those individuals is going to get answered with a very, very stock, can't give you any kind of in-depth information because of the ongoing investigation soundbite. That's just how it is. So, you kind of have to ask it knowing that that's going to be the answer, and maybe something slips out or something like that. But no, until further notice, any kind of opportunity that is given for folks to ask questions about this kind of stuff, it is going to get that stock answer about can't comment because of the ongoing investigation. You're going to be getting that. And don't be surprised. Yeah, don't be surprised and don't be disappointed about it, because you're not going to jump outside of legalese and give an answer when something isn't complete. So there you go. It is top of the hour. And so that means one thing. It means that I have to adjust the volume, as I always have to, and take it out of loop so it can be played and we can listen to it all appropriately while I read the promo. For odor-free, clean, fresh air, one place you need to go. It's Lemonized Service. The Lemonized Service QR code over my left shoulder. For those of you watching on Twitch, deodorizing enclosed spaces like houses, apartments, and condos, Lemonized has created a customized solution that eliminizes all organic odors, including those like pet, cigarettes, and food. Realtors and property managers use the Lemonized service to eliminate bad odors to help them sell or rent their homes that much faster. It's a turnkey process. Makes it easy to work with realtors and property managers. Kind of the environment we like that these days. Very green way to get rid of odors without any kind of toxic residue whatsoever. Different than Febreze or our favorite masking agents that we have either under the sink or above us in the cupboard, because when you reach either under the sink or above you in the cupboard and you pull out the masking agent, you spray the masking agent in the air. There's a reason they call it a masking agent, because you're just masking the odor. You're not attacking the issue all the way down to the molecule like our friends at Lemonize do with their proven scientific formula. Pricing very, very easy, either by the cubic foot or parts per million, and come up with a price that's affordable for you, offering results in 24 hours or less. If you have any questions, frequently asked or otherwise, one place you need to go, it's their website, and this is where I grab my pen. Today is the back pocket of my jeans. Go to their website, and they can answer questions that you have there, and they can help you address your problems as well. But here's what we ask in favor. After you go to Lemonize.com, type in /Atlanta so they know what part of the world that you are addressing them from, doing a sentence and a preposition. For your full homework assignment, should you wish Lemonize's assistance, ELIMINIZE.com /Atlanta, Lemonize.com /Atlanta, Lemonize.com for odor-free, clean, fresh air. Proud sponsors of everything SDH. And that is your homework assignment on the crash fade for your Monday when it comes to Lemonize service, stopping the music and working our way through. So once again, comments on anything that we've been talking about this morning, go for it. Obviously, the first hour was the saga. We'll go ahead and use that word, involving the Reynas and Greg Berhalter and the U.S. Soccer Federation. We've got that. We got a bunch of other news that we are going to be getting into this morning to get you ready for what is going on in all of the leagues around the planet. Serie A came back yesterday, and it was a full-blown coverage by our friend Poppy Miller, one of the busiest people in show business, and the crew at Paramount Plus and CBS Sports Network. 2 games an hour, practically all day long, and they got to cover it. Definitely the idea of wearing tennis shoes, and if you saw Poppy passing time by having a hitter drill, I want to say it was with Mike Grella, in the studio to spend a little time away from the anchor desk. That's what you got to do when you're there for like 10 or 12 hours out of the day. And so we'll keep an eye on what's going on there. Let's see. A couple of pieces of news that have just come from Major League Soccer, from Inter Miami. Nicolas Stefanelli, Argentine versatile attacker, joins the team from Swedish top-flight club AIK Football with a contract running through the 24 season. So Nicolas Stefanelli joins Inter Miami. Nashville has acquired $525,000 in GAM in exchange for defender Dave Romney, $250 in 23, $275 in 24. Also on the board, the official news came from both the Revs and from Nashville SC on the deal. That came out at the top of the hour while I was cutting a promo. Also on the board this morning, Benfica boss Roger Schmidt has accused Chelsea of disrespecting. This is from our friend Ben Jacobs at CBS Sports. Accuses Chelsea of disrespecting Benfica and pretending they can pay the release clause before trying to negotiate a fee. Schmidt adds that Chelsea have made Enzo Fernandez crazy and says he cannot accept what they are doing. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go forward. Other stuff that Sean wants to know. Well, that's the thing. So I guess we would have to go Lemonize.com /USSF. Well, maybe that's how it would work with our friends at Lemonize. Send them to the U.S. Soccer Federation offices, something like that. Sam, involving the questions from yesterday, the 3 moves that were made. Emerson Heineman and Atlanta United mutually agreeing to part ways. Marcelino Moreno and Alan Franco officially at Sao Paulo. Marcelino Moreno at Coritiba. Sam, the short answer is yes, but the longer answer is don't know for how long. And obviously, yeah, and Nick's this is where your scouting department is. This is where they really do make all of their money and all of their reputation, because you know that this day is coming. And it's not something where you're going to sit there and wait until the last minute to try to figure out, oh, okay, somebody's leaving. Where do we go now? It is more along the lines of, okay, we know this day is coming. Who do we keep an eye on? And so that's where Atlanta United did their due diligence, kept an eye on Thiago Almada, convinced Thiago Almada that this is the place for him to take that next step so he can go to Europe and follow the Miguel Almiron track. And this is what will make Atlanta United a continual destination for players coming out of Central and South America, is that, okay, we have proven time and time again, and you are looking at, you saw what happened with Miguel Almiron, one of the biggest transactions, the biggest transaction in MLS history. Probably going to get something close to that with Thiago Almada. If it's a number you can't refuse, might happen in the summer, but I would anticipate it would be another year of Thiago Almada with Atlanta United. Then he has the big year that everyone's anticipating that he has, unless you get the offer that you can't refuse and you sit there and it's this astronomical amount of money, like $127 gazillion. Then you sit there and go, yeah, we can do that. And then once again, the work possibly, toward the summer or, toward the end of the year, you're already looking at folks. You're already sitting there. It's like, okay, where can the next person come from? Where is that next impact player going to be coming from? And you sit there and it's like, okay, we got Miguel Almiron, we got Thiago Almada, who's next? And so they're already doing that kind of stuff. And Byrne, think that Almada will leave in the summer, which gives Lagerwey, who, remember, is more in charge of the business side of things, but obviously, yes, he'll have input. Enough time to plan ahead, right? Or more of a long, but I mean, Byrne, let me ask you this: you ideally find someone who becomes more of a longer-term solution. In a league that is 26 years old, in your experience with your favorite clubs in Germany, when it comes to young players who want to move on, what's the standard? What's the standard term of activity? What's the expiration date? Is it 3 seasons? Is it 2? I mean, when you mean longer term, that's what we're all looking at here. Coco's got rumors of Barco off to Vasco for $8 million. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that. But once again, Coco, I will always remind folks, look at your sources. We know the tier ones, the sources that are saying these kinds of things. How many followers do they have? What is their daily interaction? Those kinds of things. We'll keep an eye on that. Sam throwing Pedro de la Vega's name into the mix as who's next. So we'll keep an eye on that. Also on the board this morning, going back into yesterday. So we'll go back into yesterday, specifically in the Premier League. And we'll get you ready for the one match today, 3:00, Chelsea and Manchester City. Manchester City goes into play at a minus 133 at Stamford Bridge. Your draw is a plus 300, and Chelsea is a plus 378. Yesterday, you had the 4 matches, and this is the last match today in festive fixtures because you've got FA Cup this weekend. And, everything is collapsing upon you when it comes to your depth and your schedules. And we'll look at FA Cup probably tomorrow. Yesterday, Villa and Wolves, a 1-1 draw. Spurs put 4 on Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park at a plus 125. Spirited match with Leeds and West Ham, each of them getting a point at a plus 240. Nottingham Forest, a big 3 points, getting a win over Southampton by the score of 1-0 at a plus 218. So heading into the last match in festive fixtures, and you've got folks for the most part that have played 17 or 18 matches. Manchester City and Chelsea will be playing their 17th tomorrow, later this afternoon. Arsenal is 8 clear heading into today. So Manchester City wins, they're 5 clear. Newcastle 44-36 at the moment. Newcastle's at 35 points, unbeaten in their last 5. Manchester United's at 35 points. Newcastle's only given up 11 goals this year. That's a staggering number for me. 18 matches. Mark Pope's only given up 11 goals. Manchester United, 35 points behind it in goal difference at plus 7 to plus 21. Spurs with the win yesterday. They're at a plus 30. They're at 33 points in 5th. Then that second group that we'd like to talk about. Liverpool's at 28 points. Fulham's at 28 behind on goal difference. Brighton's at 27. They're in 8th. Brentford is unbeaten in their last 5. They're at 26 points in 9th. That seems about right. Chelsea at 25 points. They're in 10th. Once again, today's their 17th match. Villa with the draw is at 22. Same with Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is -8 in goal difference. Villa's -6. Leicester is having lost 3 in a row now. It's like the start that they had, Knicks, then they came out of it. Now they're back to where they were at the beginning of the season, lost 3 in a row now. They have 11 losses in 18 matches. They're at 17 points. Here's group number 3. -5 in goal difference to -6 for Leeds. Leeds has a match in hand at 17 points. Forest is out of the relegation zone with the win. 4 points in their last 2 matches. They're at 17 points. Bournemouth's lost 3 in a row, 4 of 5. They're at 16. West Ham with the draw broke a 4-game losing streak. They're at 15 points. They are only +1 out of the relegation zone because of Everton, -9 to -10. Everton has lost 4 out of 5. Wolves is at 14 points. Southampton has lost 5 in a row. They've lost 12 of 18. They're at 12 points. So that is that's what you're staring at when it comes to the Premier League. And so let's see. All right, Barco rumor. Thank you. So getting into Sam. Yeah, Cesar Luis Merlo and Romano are the only sources you trust. Well done. Let's see. PDV. De La Vega should have been at the time we got Barco. He's had quite a time since the ACL tear. Sony made an appearance. You had an APB out for him. Exactly. Coco, your Barco rumor source, 53,000 followers. They're the beat writers for Vasco. Okay. All right. Good to know. Kalana Informa. Yeah. Keep us posted on those kinds of things. Past results, no guarantee of future results, especially with different or less personnel in the recruiting area. Still maintain you need 2 starters, need to be serviceable in the very early part of the season. Yeah, center back and striker probably. So we'll keep an eye on that and see what folks are staring at. All right. So also on the board, looking at today's matches, and obviously we've had stuff going on. And you've got Coppa Italia Femenina going on. You've got the Super League going on in Turkey. Once again, early part of the day, it is Asia, it is Eastern Europe, Middle East, North Africa. That's kind of where we are right now. Copa del Rey is going on. Betis and Osasuna are playing right now. They're heavy favorites against teams like Ibiza, Islas Pitiusas, and Gimnastic. Those are the teams that they're playing right now. Let's see. Super League at noon. Trabzonspor and Demaspor, both heavy favorites at home. You've got Brazil, the Copa Sao Paulo de Juniores, the U20 tournament still going on. Chelsea, Manchester City, we talked about those numbers. Copa del Rey with Athletic Bilbao as a big favorites at 3 o'clock. Brazil, obviously, they got a lot of stuff going on with their Copas. Liga de Expansión in Liga MX is going on. Durango and Sonora are going at it at 6 o'clock tonight. They're also going at it at 8:05 and 10:05. Atlante, a big favorite at home against Oaxaca, and Dorados and Correcaminos. Dorados, a big favorite at home at 10:05, going up against Correcaminos. So let's get into what we're staring at with the action on TV and find out where you can watch things, provided I can type and let you know where things are. For you Thursday, BN and BN Espanol, the Trabzonspor match at noon. Gold TV has your Portuguese Primera at 2:15 at 2 and 2:15 with Sporting Braga and Benfica. Copa del Rey is going on right now on ESPN Plus with the Osasuna and Betis matches. They also have Athletic Club at 3 o'clock, and Peacock has Chelsea and Manchester City. That is at 3 o'clock. So let's get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo once again. What else is on your mind? And obviously, we'll cycle back to what you guys are discussing as we go. We did mention Coco, the Dave Romney deal, split numbers for 2 years of AM heading to Nashville for 275 and 250 in AM. So we'll keep an eye on that. Manchester United, the Joao Felix saga we've really talked about a lot because Atletico Madrid doesn't want Joao Felix around, doesn't want him on the books, but they want to make sure that they don't have to pay a dime. Manchester United's prepared to offer €4 million to take Joao Felix on loan for the rest of the season, but Atletico Madrid want 12 to 13 million euro. So that's a bit of a gap. That's from Relevo in Spanish. Benfica rejected Chelsea's offer for Enzo Fernandez. Blues want to pay the 112 across 3 years, but Benfica wants the 106 paid in full. That's from the 4-letter paper, and that goes back to what we were talking about with Ben Jacobs just a little bit ago. Chelsea interested in signing Brighton's Moises Caicedo. Remember when we were talking about Moises Caicedo, and then Brighton picked him up and then didn't play him for a while? The irony is not lost that Graham Potter wants Moises Caicedo, considering that he didn't play him, and then when he did, strangely enough, Moises Caicedo did Moises Caicedo things, and Brighton improved. And they won more matches than they drew or lost, I think. But they played better with Moises Caicedo out there. And so now Chelsea is going to have to pay the man if they want to get Moises Caicedo away from Brighton. Once again, we talk about the circle of life. Now involves Moises Caicedo. Real Madrid increasingly confident of winning the chase for Jude Bellingham, with their pitch being that they're the best place for young talent in Europe. Frank Lampard will be in charge for the club's FA Cup third-round tie against Manchester United on Friday, amid serious doubts about his longer-term future at Goodison Park. Villa rejected a bid from Everton to sign Danny Ings on loan. The Midlands club will only accept the 30-year-old, who's also getting interest from Bournemouth, Southampton, and West Ham, departing on a permanent deal. Once again, 4-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Sam, no Joseph update as of yet. Remember, tomorrow folks head into training camp for your medicals, and then training camp is supposed to start on Sunday. I imagine it's just everybody hopping up and down and doing toe touchies and things like that on Sunday for the first day back. Welcome back. Everton are open to letting Abdoulaye Doucouré leave the club on a permanent deal in January. Talks had taken place with Fulham. Shakhtar Donetsk set to turn down Arsenal's improved £62 million bid for Mykhailo Mudryk. This talks also take place with Chelsea. That's the 4-letter paper again. Chelsea are willing to beat any Arsenal offer from Mudryk to beat the Gunners to the signing. Wolves are unaware of any reported interest from Liverpool in Mateus Nunes, and the Molineux club see the 24-year-old as a long-term part of their future. Liverpool will not attempt to sign Nunes this month because of FIFA transfer regulations. The Portugal midfielder could not play for Jurgen Klopp's side until next season, following his move from Sporting Lisbon to the Molineux in August. Roberto Firmino attracting interest from clubs in Saudi Arabia, but the 31-year-old leaning toward extending his contract with Liverpool as talks continue. Leicester City have held preliminary talks about signing Danish left-back Victor Christensen from FC Copenhagen, who might accept an initial fee of £5 to £8 million for the 20-year-old. That's from the Telegraph. Southampton are in talks with Villarreal midfielder Nicolas Jackson-Camp about signing the 21-year-old Senegalese international on loan with an option to buy in the summer. Obviously, that contingent upon their survival in the Premier League. Barcelona expected to sign Inigo Martinez in the summer when his contract with Bilbao runs out. Ansu Fati could be offered out on loan by Barcelona as the La Liga giants bid to create space in their squad for January signings. Sure, I'd love to know what kind of money Barcelona has. Maybe it's magic money to try to bring players in, since they're still having issues paying bills as we speak. Okay, so there you go. We'll see what happens with the Barca bank account. Chelsea have completed the signing of Badiashile for $35 million. We had Benoit Badiashile from Monaco, 7.5-year deal. 135 appearances for Monaco, capped twice by France. Reported in late December, they were in advanced talks over the deal with the 21-year-old. Completed the switch to Stamford Bridge on Thursday. Considered one of the best young left-footed center backs in Europe, and it's been a player that Chelsea have been chasing after for quite some time. Jack Butland close to joining Manchester United on loan. Other rumors having to do with Joao Felix, and let's see who else is being rumored at the moment for them. It is a right back not seen as a priority because of Wan-Bissaka and Diogo Dalot. Preparing a summer move for Kim Min-jae at Napoli at center back. So we'll keep an eye on that for Manchester United. Looking at Others going on. Outgoing is a possibility this month, according to Brendan Rodgers. Nothing is imminent, but they are working hard on transfers, according to him. Benfica says they feel like they're being disrespected when it comes to the dealings involving Enzo Fernandez. David Martindale has revealed that Livingston are close in signing Louis DeLucas. The 28-year-old has been on trial with the Lions since November. Lampard, we have a budget to spend, but we may look at loans and those who can impact us now. We won't be looking at players who won't improve us, so we cannot make mistakes. Targeting players at the top end of the pitch is the hardest market. Steve Cooper says the club could make a new signing before they return to Premier League action. They've made 22 additions so far this season. They still have more additions than points. Already admitted they intend to bring in reinforcements as they look to move away from relegation. Nothing's imminent before the FA Cup tie at Blackpool on Saturday. New arrivals might be in place before the game with Leicester Saturday week. Keep an eye on that. Thoughts from folks about Coutinho and Aston Villa. Andre Santos, remember, he has been signed also by Chelsea. Mislav Orsic is having a medical with Southampton after the club agreed to a fee with Dinamo Zagreb, around £8 million, 6 appearances for Croatia at the World Cup. Keep an eye on Flamengo and Mateus França for a Newcastle possibility. Manchester City possibly looking at Maximo Perroni from Vélez Sarsfield. So keep an eye on him. Let's see. Yeah, Steve Cooper says he's only focused on the immediate future. Let's get into paper talk as we continue to roll through here. Burn, no doubt. 64, paying what you paid for Ansu Fati. And, just the Barca, Barca is just, it's a mess. And I don't anticipate it getting any less messy, for lack of a better word. Daily Telegraph, David De Gea hopeful of being able to see out his career at Manchester United, closing in on a new contract, avoiding the 3 and the 4 letter paper. Arsenal have cooled their interest in Yuri Tielemans, not expected to make a move for the playmaker this month. Daily Express, Declan Rice has taken offense to claims that he has given up at West Ham after outlining his desire to win trophies and play Champions League football at the World Cup. Cesc Fabregas has been pictured back at Arsenal as he works toward entering the world of coaching once he retires as a player. Liverpool, we mentioned Mateus Nunes as well. Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk could be sidelined until next month with a hamstring injury, according to the Times, leaving the defender in the race to prove his fitness as they get ready for the Champions League tie with Real Madrid. And Evening Standard, Arsenal have been told to increase their bid for Mudryk after Chelsea is exploring a move. Cristiano Ronaldo will earn £514,000 a day on his new Al Nassr contract. 21,400 an hour, 357 pounds a minute, and £6 a second. Must be nice. Midtjylland interested in landing Georgios Giacomakis from Celtic, but they need to see if a January move is viable. Hearts are said to be eyeing up a move for Garang Kwal just days after he officially joined Newcastle. So if they can get him on loan, we'll see about that. And then we can talk to Ange Postecoglou. Celtic, he's one of the early contenders to become the next Everton manager. It also appears that Frank Lampard will be, he's right now on the verge probably of being knocked out. Wayne Rooney is your odds-on even money man to replace. Speaking of DC United, if you've seen the Cherry Blossom kit, that looks pretty sweet. Looks like Matthias Klick is heading to DC United. He got the Guard of Honor as he was leaving the Leeds match yesterday. So all indications are that Matthias Klick is leaving Leeds for DC United. Nothing official yet when it comes to him coming to Major League Soccer. No Joseph News as of yet. No, we have not talked about. Did Christian Fuchs retire, Coco? So I know that there was the discussions that Fuchs, when he came to Charlotte, a lot of folks were kind of wondering about it. 22 minutes ago from Willie P. Style announces his retirement from professional soccer, 17 matches, 2 goals in the inaugural campaign. Club says he will remain in Charlotte and maintain an expanded role with CLTFC. 19 seasons, 4 different countries, 78 caps with Austria, and obviously a big part of the 15-16 Leicester side. And so expanded role with Charlotte. The release comes out, and you have the quote, 577 professional club appearances, 37 goals, 83 assists, 78 caps with Austria, captain for 37 of those matches. So we'll see what Christian Fuchs is up to when his world continues at Charlotte. But don't know if there'll be any Miles news today, Sam. I think that as we get closer to camp, you probably might see something as folks are wandering in to get their medicals and, first checking into the hotel. You stamp your ID to make sure your ID works, those kinds of things. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Miles and his recovery, and looking forward to see what's going on. So, yeah, and Michael, you're right. Fuchs still has why there's that retirement league stigma there, because he really did, playing the year before in Charlotte just as a way to stay fit. And then coming in Charlotte and working on the left-hand side, you could tell very, very early on that it was that the game was a lot faster than what he could do. And there was a lot of frustration in his play that you could tell late in the year. There were some fouls and some reds and things like that. And so, Christian probably should have, to Burns' point, retired a few years earlier. So we'll but no, Christian Fuchs did great work. I know a lot of us are attached to Fuchs in his time at Leicester City, with them winning the championship at a 5,000-1. But great work by him, great ambassador for Charlotte, bringing in Major League Soccer to the Charlotte area and for Charlotte FC. But yeah, obviously can't wait to see what's next with Christian Fuchs and see what's going on with him, as he is definitely part of the fabric of what has been being built for the Crown up there in Charlotte. So we'll see what's next for Christian Fuchs. But yeah, retiring at the age of 36 today. And that came out basically at the top of the hour. So not anticipating a whole lot of news when it comes to players in Major League Soccer. And, like I said, a lot of folks are looking at, the first go-rounds of training camp and things like that. And so we'll see what's going on there. If you've got it, there's an article out over with our friends at the Striker Austin. Sporting director Claudio Reyna, and it mentions what's going on. Phil West is the one who wrote the article about what we know. And we got into it this morning about the idea of, what the future might be for Claudio Reyna. And that's, so the final paragraph, and this was other stuff that was brought to the fore yesterday, wondering whether or not that Reyna would retain his post. The Cecilio Dominguez situation was brought up yesterday, and that was one of the things that was brought up with Reyna in his time in Austin. The paragraph from Phil West: this is a different type of controversy, of course, and Reyna has a different role with the organization, more in the background than a player from a fan's perspective, but arguably more important as the C-level executive overseeing technical staff. Which direction Austin FC decides to go with Reyna, whether cutting ties or weathering the storm, ultimately resides with CEO Anthony Precourt and President Andy Lofton. But as the Dominguez episode showed, Austin FC fans have no hesitation in expressing feelings about pending personnel decisions the club must make, and club representatives are at least cognizant of such fan reactions. And so that's the tail end of the Phil West piece from our friends at Striker. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Let's see. I'm trying to see what else is going on today. From Michelle Kaufman, we mentioned the Nicholas Stefanelli deal, and Stefanelli comes in at 28, attacking midfielder, contract runs through 24, option for 25. 60 goals, 20 assists, and over 200 matches in Europe and South America. Miami's expected also to sign left-back winger Franco Negri, 27-year-old Argentine who's been playing for Godoy Cruz in Argentina's top division, previously played for Newell's. Actually, Coco, it's, let's see, I've got the Weather Channel off to my left. I've got Cron, TV out of San Francisco, keeping an eye on what's going on weather-wise. So Cron is off to my left here. Sorry if it's a distraction. So Franco Negri from Godoy Cruz, previously played for Newell's, is supposed to be expected to be signed by Miami as well. They opened training camp on Monday. And according to Michelle Kaufman, in addition to new players, Rodolfo Pizarro is expected to return to the team after spending the past year and a half in Mexico on loan with Monterrey, which did not exercise the option to buy Pizarro's contract. Home exhibition match against Vasco da Gama on January 21st, and they kick off the MLS season February 25th at home against CF Montreal. Quoting Chris Henderson, thrilled to add a player of Nicholas's experience and quality to our team. Well-rounded and versatile player who will provide us with more options for our strong attacking unit. He possesses all the qualities we were seeking in an attacking player, and we're excited to see him represent Inter Miami. Stefanelli has played for Club Social y Deportivo, Defensa y Justicia, Villa Dalmin, AIK Football in Sweden, Cypriot team Anorthosis Famagusta, and Union La Calera in Chile. Stefanelli spent 2 seasons with AIK in Sweden, played for him from 2017 to 2020, won the league title 2018, 40 goals, 14 assists. Teammates with Robert Taylor in 2017 during his first spell with AIK, faced Christopher McVeigh in a Swedish match in November 2021. Stefanelli scored a pair of goals in AIK's 4-2 win over IF Elfsborg. Quote from Stefanelli during his time in Chile. 45 appearances across all comps, 6 in the Copa Sudamericana 2020, 11 goals, 5 assists. So that's what's heading Inter Miami's way as we work our way this morning. Sam, MLS Retirement League, what do you consider CR7's oil money league as the Margarita Mill retirement community? That's a good question. If the MLS is a retirement league, what do you consider CR7's oil money league? Margaritaville retirement community. Let's see. I'm trying to think of who. I don't know if it's Del Webb. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know what the difference would be. It might be Margaritaville retirement community but I don't know if CR37 would be the one partying. Because you would anticipate that there's a lot of activity that is not athletics based in the Margaritaville retirement community. I don't think that necessarily would be what CR37 is up to. USL Championship. That's right. That was the other thing. One of the other things that I wanted to get into before we go this morning. And there are a couple of things. One, I'll plant the seed. Patrick Ittrich, an official in Germany, offered up some changes to the game. And I wanted to get into that with you guys. But obviously, I was thinking about that this morning. But then there were things that kind of took over what we were talking about. So but we'll get into those changes of the game in a little bit. Speaking of USL Championship, the Battery made a move for Declan Wynn. Lou City has added Danish midfielder Rasmus Thelefsen. The home openers have been announced in the USL Championship. And so it is March 11, and we'll go Eastern Conference first. Home openers in the East. March 11, Birmingham gets Pittsburgh. Charleston gets Phoenix. Memphis 901 gets Loudoun United. So Stephen Glass out of the blocks gets Loudoun United for a home opener. The Miami FC gets FC Tulsa. Tampa Bay Rowdies, who released Nicky Law yesterday, they get Indy 11. So we'll get to see Indy 11 with their firepower, the return of Sebastian Guenzati. March 19, Loudoun gets San Antonio FC at Segra. So thanks for that for a home opener. March 24th, Pittsburgh Riverhounds get the Miami FC at Highmark. March 25th, Detroit City at Keyworth gets Indy 11. Hartford gets Birmingham Legion. Lou City gets El Paso. FC Tulsa gets Loudoun United. And April Fool's Day, Indy 11 gets Vegas Lights FC. Insert your joke there. Western Conference home openers, March 11. El Paso gets Sacramento. Monterey Bay gets Hartford Athletic at Cardinal. Orange County SC gets Lou City. San Antonio gets Oakland. San Diego Loyal gets to host Detroit City on the 11th. RGV gets Vegas Lights on March 12th. Switchbacks on the 18th get Hartford Athletic. Sacramento gets Charleston Battery on March 18th. The 25th, Oakland Roots get Memphis 901. April Fools, San Diego goes to Phoenix. New Mexico United gets San Diego Loyal on April 15th and May 5th. So the first 2 months are on the road for Vegas Lights. Vegas gets the Charleston Battery on May the 5th for their home opener. That's the last home opener in the USL Championship on the year. But, yeah, so that's your home openers for USL Championship. Coming close to finding out what the deal is in USL League One. We'll see what all the home openers are there. The Miami FC announces the arrival of Ford Michael Salazar. Hartford has brought in Richard Sanchez in net from his time at Los Dos. Milo Yosef comes to Tulsa, two-time All-American there. Michi and Galena went to Göztepe, so a big loss for the USL Championship and for Colorado Springs, trying to replace that kind of firepower. Nathan Steinwasser has re-signed as their centerpiece in net in Detroit City. So that's some of your transactions in USL League One today. So maybe that is the question by the end of it all, Sam. So, yeah, and Ricky, I'm right there with you. Hopefully we'll get some MLS Next Pro news at some point. Yeah, there is a lot of unknowns. There were a couple of players that have been signed on for teams, and teams are starting to fill out their rosters. I think Charlotte FC had a couple of signings yesterday for their MLS Next Pro roster, but yeah, when we know everything about MLS Next Pro, obviously, we'll be covering it really hard here at SDH on a daily basis. So when we know more about MLS Next Pro, the whys, the wherefores, the whens, all that kind of stuff, we'll keep an eye on that. So, yeah, USL Championship, USL League One, morning four card. So when we know everything about the championship, we at least know the home dates. So you're 2 months away from home dates and the return of the programming there. For SDH in the USL Championship in League One. And then obviously with MLS Next Pro, we'll let you know what's going on there as well. So a lot of wild stuff happening yesterday. And then, so it was a wild morning, and we got a lot of stuff we talked through a lot of stuff this morning once again. If you haven't seen it, Marcelino Moreno, the video that they released with him at Coritiba, very, very 90s, very, very 90s editing, very, very cool stuff from them at Coritiba. And you hope that Marcy has a good home there at Coritiba. And that's good stuff. And it looks like Coritiba is going to be basically paying his salary. So he's basically off the books when it comes to Atlanta United in 2023. I almost said 2022, but then I had to look at the calendar really quickly. Let me see if there's anything else going on before we go. Once again, we've got games all over the place today. Watch on your favorite provider of choice. Ruben Gabrielson, news out of Austin. Ruben Gabrielson, after Austin FC signs Leo Väisänen, then you have Ruben Gabrielson heading back to Norway to go to Lillestrøm SK. 30-year-old defender signed with Austin a year ago on a multi-year deal. Returns after 1 year. Second stint with Lillestrøm after playing with them in the top flight from 2009 to 2014. Quoting Gabrielson in an official statement, difficult to say goodbye to Austin as a parent of a child who requires special care. Returning to Lillestrøm in Norway is what's best for me and my family at this time. So 2 goals, 3 assists, 36 matches across regular season and playoffs, paired with Julio Cascante at the back. Austin's center back core becomes Väisänen, Cascante, Johan Romagna, and Kip Keller. 49 goals against last season. We're mid-table, and their third season begins February 25th when St. Louis City SC comes to Q2 Stadium. Aaron Long is officially official with LAFC, so we'll see what the LA Galaxy decide to do in return And we mentioned that Daniel Gazdag's new contract elevates him to DP status. With the numbers that he had been putting in to help out Philadelphia in 2022, well-deserved. Inked a contract through the 2025 season, option for 26. Best 11 in 2022. Switching to the jersey number 10. Added importance there for Daniel Gazdag. Joined from Honved in Hungary. Team's top scorer, 22 goals, 10 assists. Only second to Kai Wagner with 15. And second best goal differential, 46, and goals against total, 26 in MLS history, falling just short of the league title, losing to LAFC in the penalties. Ernst Tanner became one of the top two-way players in MLS, as well as a league MVP candidate last season. Great fit for our aggressive style of play. Excited to reward him with a DP contract that keeps him in Philadelphia for the coming years. The 3 DPs now in Philly: Carranza, Ua, Gazdag. Gazdag has 4 goals and 18 appearances for Hungary in international play. You're looking at Corey Burke to Red Bulls, Paxton Aronson to Eintracht Frankfurt. They brought in Andres Perea in an offseason deal with Orlando City, so it'll be interesting to see how the new pieces fit in with the pieces that have moved on for the Philadelphia Union. So Daniel Gazdag signs a DP deal, and that is now officially official as well. So we've talked about Long, talked about Gabrielson, talked about Stefanelli, possibly other transactions when it comes to Major League Soccer. And so it's a busy day here at SDH. Thanks to all of you guys for hanging out with us. Hopefully tomorrow will be a little calmer when it comes to what we're talking about. Looking forward to the return, hopefully, of our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring, so we can discuss what's been going on in the news and talk about parents and their impact when it comes to mentees. So we'll get into that, especially tomorrow as well. Now we'll see if it's Greg Garza or Michael Parkers that joins us for the Friday Free Kick, and hopefully that you'll be here to join us as well. So for everybody here at SDH, it's been a very busy morning. Thanks for hanging out with us as much as you do, and we'll do it again tomorrow. So for everybody here at SDH, for Jarrett, for Jason, for Nick, I'm just John. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy your games today. Remember, it's the end of festive fixtures at 3 o'clock with Chelsea and Manchester City. We'll keep an eye on that today, but we'll do it all again tomorrow here at 9:05. So for everybody here, play it safe. Mucho plati, y'all. And since it is the end of the show, it means I get to do this. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out.